Howdy, Hillbilly Nation. This is American Hillbilly. Man, I hope everybody out there's having a good day, a good weekend. Yeah, it is a 3-day weekend, and that's to honor the Memorial Day. And that is our men and women, our heroes that just didn't get to make it home or whatever. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend anyhow. Because sometimes it's a time to get together with family and friends too on a 3-day weekend, and most of all, the hamburgers, hot dogs, all that stuff's really good. But don't forget that it's Memorial Day too. So happy to see everybody out there. My goodness. Glad you all can show up tonight. Man, I've been busier than a beaver, I tell you what. And I'm so glad to come in here and chill out and have a good time with all you fine folks. And we have a great panel back there in the green room. Yeah. So let's bring them out and let's say hi to everybody. All right. First up, we have Mr. Gizzard Gary, everybody's favorite Gizzard. How you doing tonight, Gary?
Well, I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right.
So,
Well, you have a good day.
uh, yeah, if you consider going out and doing a workout and making yourself all sore a good day, but yeah, I spent most of it above ground, so can't complain. I'm still here.
Yep. Yeah, that's above ground. That's a great deal, huh?
Yes, sir. It's a place to
Well,
be.
appreciate you being here tonight, Gizzard. Thank you very much. And we also have next person we're gonna bring out is Moondog Go. How you doing tonight, Moondog?
Very well, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Doing great.
Well, I am not in my usual studio. I'm down in Los Angeles visiting my mom's, who's recovering health wise, but I'm glad to be here.
Oh man, glad to have you here. I hope she is doing good, buddy.
She is. I just wish that she would just take it easy. I'm spending most of my time telling her like, stop picking up things. Let me do it. Let one of your grandkids do it. You're gonna fall. So.
Oh man, yeah, busy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my grandmother. I don't think she ever slowed down uh till the very end. I mean, she's still trying to do stuff then, man. Yeah. Well, I'm glad she's doing better, buddy. Really happy to hear that. And thank you so much for being here. So you had a wonderful drive all the way down to
Oh,
LA.
for up until the beginning part was bumper to bumper traffic out of San Francisco yesterday. But once I got into the Central Valley and down for here, it was pretty fine. It wasn't too bad. But in the afternoon with the Memorial Day traffic, it was just a bit of a nightmare. But hey, I got down here.
Oh, good. Yeah, I Memorial Weekend traffic. There's a lot of it out there most easily. So glad you made it okay, and glad she's doing good. And thank you so much for being here tonight, buddy.
No, I'm just glad that
Appreciate it.
her Wi-Fi is working properly enough that you can actually hear me. Probably better than the last two times I was trying to get on your live stream the other weeks, and I was just like frozen. Like,
Yeah, we just thought he was having a really good time. He's smiling, wasn't moving any. So, well, Moondog's just having a good time there.
well, glad to be here.
Well, thanks a lot for being here, buddy. Up next, I'd like to bring out Garage Guy 879. How you doing tonight, Garage Guy?
Oh, you're mute. You're on mute.
Trying to pull a hillbilly, ain't he?
I guess it was my turn to do that this week. I'm doing really well. Thanks for the invite. It's always awesome to be here. Always good to see those familiar names over in the side chat. The weather's been pretty good today, so I don't see any internet problems coming. So tell you what, my friends, it's Saturday night. Let's have some fun.
You betcha. So glad to be here. Oh man. And see, let's go ahead and bring up next JH586. How you doing tonight, Jamie? You doing all right, buddy?
Oh, now you're doing it.
I think it just automatically does it when you're on this show.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's look at this crowd. Golly. You are what's wrong with America, people. That's what my daughter told me. You are what's wrong with America. I'm like, no, I'm here to make America great again.
There you go.
So there's that. But yeah, I can't believe my own daughter said that to me. But hey, man, we all say stuff that we shouldn't say, but especially when we get ill with each other, and we need to filter that down. We need to make sure that we aren't saying anything unloving to anybody. And y'all can tell I watched Miss Brooks' show this evening, so that's she's got my heart and my mind working. So anyway, thanks for having me. Is my rant over with?
Oh man, thank you so much for being here, Jamie. Appreciate you.
Well, thank y'all for having me.
Well, up next we have the Mr. Leather Craftsman himself, Mark Thomas. How you doing tonight, Mark?
Doing real good. And I'm going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say we are what is right with America.
Amen. 100%.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me. Memorial Day weekend, let's not forget what it's about. Let's remember those who have fallen. Hopefully everybody's safe from weather. I know some of you out there in the Midwest, a little bit questionable. We just had a little bit of a storm go through, so we're safe, we're clear. But
good.
Boy, let's hope we have a good, safe evening, have a good time tonight, and let's just all enjoy ourselves together.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, we have the voice of YouTube, DJ Play Nice. How you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm kidding. Anyhow, I'm doing pretty well. And I'm glad to bring some jolly times into this chat. Always have them here, and looking forward to more, man. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, buddy. Oh man, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's a good weekend, having 3 days, off, but also, in a way, it's a little bit of sadness that goes along with it with Memorial Day, remembering our fallen heroes. And so, I just think right now, we ought to, let's just take a quick moment of silence for our men and women, the heroes that didn't make it back. All right, and we ask the Lord to bless them, their families, man. That's, without them and our other service people, we wouldn't get to enjoy these freedoms that we have. And man, we're so blessed to be in a wonderful country that we can do this right here, come together from all across the country, and everywhere. And, even plumb, across the pond, and get to fellowship and be together and have a good time. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody so much for being here, and yeah, the storms have, I've been seeing some stuff on the side chat. Yeah, and also the storms here and there, man. I hope everybody's staying safe out there. And it can't be fast enough for them storms to die down. Let's get on to the, next season and get past, this tornado season, And so anyway, I have some topics. Imagine that. Oh, well, first, I should have brought up this banner first, guys. I'm sorry about that. Tonight, we will have a giveaway, Skinny Blue Knife. And make sure you get your hashtag in HPN79 to get in that giveaway, because we'll be giving away a Skinny Blue Knife tonight. But we do have some topics lined up. And I thought, I kind of had went back and forth a little bit on this topics, what we should do tonight and everything. But then, been on Georgia Shooting Connection last night. Jamie did such a wonderful job covering a lot of stuff about Memorial Day, and had a beautiful ending on Georgia Shooting Connection, and man, you just can't top that. And so I figured we would just have some different topics. We'll talk a little bit about some firearms and stuff like that, and then I think we're going to be talking about music again tonight. That everybody seemed to have fun doing that, and so anyway, let's just go ahead and get on to that. There's a kind of a reason I wanted to talk about this, and getting more and more in the scopes and a few things. We always had some, for hunting, deer rifles and stuff like that. And I know that with a lot, the scopes, there's so many great companies out there right now producing a lot of different optics. And so I ran across a deal a little bit. I was trying to figure something out, and thank goodness with this awesome community here, I reached out to Jamie and CW, and they helped me out. But I thought, let's just talk a little bit about scopes, rings, and getting them actually mounted on what you're going to be, what you want to use them for. And I thought, because when you just kind of do a Google search, I found out just recently that there's a lot of different stuff out there, and you're like, I don't know which part's true or what, and so since this is something I had just recently gone through, I thought, well, let's talk a little bit about this, and that way, if there's somebody out there tonight or watches in the replay, maybe we can give them some helpful information. And we have some great people on here that know really, a lot about scopes and mounting them and stuff. And so I thought, well, let's talk about kind of maybe a few of our favorite scopes and what we mount them on, what we're using them for, and then have you run into some trouble, okay, I got the scope, I can't figure out what tube, what size, it's not like I'm just black and white right here on the, on the cards that come in. Okay, what size millimeter tube is this? Now is it going to fit a dovetail? Well, okay, you got 3/8 dovetail, you got 11 millimeter dovetail, you go up to, weaver mount, but you're going to that style. Well, you got weaver mount, and you got pick pick rail, I mean, so there's kind of a lot of different, things. I thought we could just kind of share maybe what we ran into and what we like, and maybe that'll help somebody out down the road, because we're all about making somebody's day better. And my goodness, DJ, you forgot to shut the back door, buddy. Look what come in.
Hi, guys.
Bubba.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing fine in frog hair, split 4 ways.
Oh man. But yeah, welcome, Bubba. Good to have you here, buddy. We're gonna start out talking a little bit about some scopes, maybe just one or two that we like. If we had any trouble with the rings and not getting them mounted, and we're seeing a question out there. John says, simple explanation about MOA, please. And so we got some pretty smart scope people in here and stuff. So who'd want to answer that for John out there about the MOA in layman's terms?
In layman's terms.
Or hillbilly's terms. Because, I mean, you got to speak slow, and pronunciate, for me to understand.
I'll take a stab at that. So MOA stands for minute of arc, and we all did. I've worked with some tools. We know like the degrees, right? 360 degrees in a circle, and if you, it's a measurement of that circle. So the arc is the arc of that circle. Now, for practical terms, and really which we can get into more minutia. Practical terms, it's basically when you say 1 MOA, that's 1 inch at 100 yards. Now, in exact amounts, there's like it's 1 point something or other, and I can't rattle off the top of my head because of the way that circle and pi and everything else. But don't worry about that. What you just gotta remember.
Don't say pi, but he gets all excited.
Oh,
cherry pie,
not that pie.
No,
Not pie. Not that kind of pie. What you just need to know is basically it's 1 inch at 100 yards. So if you're shooting 100 yards, you're shooting. Sometimes you'll hear folks say, "Oh, I'm shooting my gun's shooting 1 MOA." That means that their group is less than 1 inch at 100 yards. So that's what we're talking about. And when we're talking about scopes, it'll say MOA or quarter MO click per MOA. It means each click is a quarter of an inch. We'll move your point of impact a quarter inch for every click. That's roughly what it is.
All right. Anybody want to add to that? Anything?
So before we go any further with this, so it's also a minute of arc, but it's also a minute of angle. So don't get confused. It's practically the same thing. And 1 MOA is 1/60th of a degree. So that just complicated things. I apologize. 1.047 inches is
Thank you.
The technical thing is for it. But so just an adjustment on the angle and stuff like. So if you have a 20 MOA rail, it's let's see. Oh man, doing Bubba math here. Let's see. 26,
take your shoes off.
20.
Hold on. The one third if I was to round it all the way down to the nearest tenth. So 1/3 of adjustments. But yeah, no, it's like, so don't get confused if somebody says, my minute of angle, it still means minute of arc. It's the same thing. So don't get confused by that part. The other part everybody is wholeheartedly okay with getting confused with, because I'm a Kentucky boy and I do Kentucky windage anyway. So, yeah, there's that.
Is that Jim Beam or Jack Daniels?
Jim Beam. We don't talk to Jack anymore. Jack stubbed his toe on the safe, and now he's gone. That is how he passed away, by the way. That's not a joke. That's how Jack Daniels passed away. He stubbed his toe on a safe and got gangrene and didn't bother going to the doctor and died an idiot.
Bullets go like
You
this.
had something, right?
Yeah, bullets do this number and fall down at a certain point.
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
This is the thing. You got two choices when it comes to scopes. You can use mil radian or what we call mil dot or whatever. Um, and this is the big thing you need to know about MOA. And all right, you got a full circle, 360 degrees. 360 degrees, so we want 1 degree. So one MOA is 1/60th of that 1 degree. That's 360 degrees. And the reason it's so popular is because that it works out to be really close to an inch at 100 yards. And that's the reason people flock to MOA, because they think in 100-yard increments and they think in 1 inch increments. But when you start going out to 500, 1,000 yards to a mile, you really need to start thinking about mil radian, because one click is 1/10 of a mil radian, and it's a whole lot easier to dial in your distances and your dope with mil radian at distance than it is with MOA. If you're going to hunt deer and your farthest shot's going to be, say, 250 yards, stick with your MOA. It's already ingrained in your mind. And if you go to mil radian, you're going to have to transform your mind into another mode of thinking. And it's not that difficult. If I can do it, how hard can it possibly be? Really, but MOA is great because it works out that way, but mil radian at distance is a lot quicker and a lot easier. But you'll never take away the fact that the MOA adjustments on your scopes are infinitely finer. You can zero that scope in to a more pinpointed dot with a MOA reticle than you can with a mil radian.
Yeah, and isn't that a lot of the reason why, like, a lot of your targets had the 1 inch squares, right? So it's a little easier to like adjust and all that. So
MOA, yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you're 1 square off, 4 clicks. Go, DJ.
Sir, is there going to be a quiz on this? Because I'm not sure I feel so good. I might need a pass. It's going through my head. I hope that there are some people out there in the text chat that are like in the same boat as I am. Hey, fellas, that is just like, okay. I wish that I had that information, but I'm glad to have it from others. So definitely, and I'll have something to add when we go around talk about our scopes. Not right now.
All right. So I hope that covered everything with the question about MOA, and thanks for also throwing in there the MRAD too, Jimmy.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, you betcha.
Just quickly, don't buy a scope that has a MOA reticle or a mil dot reticle and MOA adjustments, because then you got to do what Abigail says. You got to use metric and imperial measurements interchange. No, don't do it. Train your brain to think one way and stay down that lane. Pick a lane, go. Just don't. And I think you'll find that the only people still doing that is the less expensive scopes are still doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a no-no.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. So, did you have something else, Benny?
I was just going to tell Tim S. I'm sorry that he grew up listening to ABBA.
Hey, I like ABBA.
I like Led Zeppelin.
I like them both.
Yep. Yeah.
I was fascinated with Karen Carpenter, though. Weren't we all, guys?
Oh, she's got the most purest voice.
Oh,
She was amazing.
Yep. So we'll go back up and we'll start with you, Gizzard, and we'll go around the room, give everybody a chance to talk about like maybe a few scopes that they like or something they use, and like how they figured out, like what rings they needed and what they mounted on if they had any trouble. So anyway, well, you got anything about that, Gary?
Well, I won't take up much of your time at all because I don't own any scopes, never have. So I don't have any experience with any scopes. So how about that?
Well,
I'm learning. I'm
all
learning
right.
from you guys. In case I
Well,
get
when-
to be a big boy and get a big rifle here soon.
Yeah, when you get ready, now you got all the information you need. So
I mean, I can barely see to the end of my rifle. So yeah, I probably need a scope.
That's
Hey,
why
man.
I needed a scope, was I could barely see the target on when I'm shooting pistols.
Yeah, it's like when I'm at a 25-yard range and I'm trying to focus at the end of that lane, and it's like, man, I can just barely see that.
Oh man, that's funny. I was like, man, I hope there's a hard seltzer down there I can hit. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Let's see that. Okay, M. Gabriel, I'm going to start that comment, and we'll get back to it because actually I did do some Zalissi red dots. So remind me when it gets around to my turn, and I'll talk about those for just a minute. And anyway, so Moondog, we'll move on to you. You've got to look down several scopes.
Yeah,
And,
I've kind of fallen into becoming a big scope reviewer. I did not intend that path on when I started getting into doing pew tubing, but it was specifically the last 12 months, a lot of LPVO reviews because they've been asking me to do, and I was not really that big into LPVOs. Still kind of on the fence of them, but I certainly practical for AR and anything that you're shooting typically at less than 300 yards, just because you honestly don't need that much magnification. The only reason I run anything that's like a 6-24 or higher is when I'm shooting precision 100-yard bench rest, just because I want to be able to see, because those rings are about the width of the bullet, so I want to be able to see whether or not I'm hitting the X ring or the 8 instead of the 7 or whatnot. That's the only reason I run anything that high. But for practice, there's a couple of brands I like. I started off, well, to be honest, I started off with a used Bushnell Sport View that was about 30 years old on my Marlin, and I was happy with that. And I still have it. I still shoot with it, but one of the brands I would recommend is Athlon. They're a really good glass for the price, and I consider them. They have everything from like budget, from the Talos to high end. High end by some people would say they're not really high end, but to me, anything over $1,000 is high end. But there's scopes out there that are a couple of grand, like $4,000 or $5,000. So that's neither here nor there. I've only seen them at SHOT Show. I certainly will never buy one. I won't have the budget to buy one of those.
U.S. Optics.
Yeah, or US up. Yeah. So, but there is a big difference between those kind of scopes and the scopes that we can get over at our big box stores, at our Bass Pros and at our Walmarts. But I'll be straight up. If you can see your target, if you can hit your target, that's a good enough scope to me. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to do that. But there are better brands for doing that than others. I'll just rattle a few off. I like Monstrum for prisms and LPVOs. Good value for money. I mentioned. Sorry, did I say Monstrum or Athlon? But other than them,
Yeah, should have fun. Don't take my scope from me.
Yeah, and then Arkin, which a couple of us have, they changed the market in terms of what you could expect for a scope around $500. and they delivered a lot of the features that those $1,000 scopes had. I will not claim that they're as good as a $1,200 Zeiss or a Vortex Razor HD in terms of just absolute clarity of the glass. But if I can see the steel at 1,000 yards with an Arkin and hit the target, then I don't really need that extra $700 worth of glass. So that's just me. But so there you go. Mark, you're up next.
All right.
See you, Kay. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, which Mark?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mark.
I won't presume. I'll let Hillbilly pick out who's up next, but I don't want to monopolize the entire conversation.
Garage guy.
All right. A few weeks ago, we was talking about scopes, and I'll say the same thing now that I said then. I'm not near as educated as I should be on scopes or optics, but I'm working on it now. Rimfire scopes, I've never seen the need or had the need to get anything extravagant. I'd go to Wally World and get a Simmons 22 Magnum scope. I've got one or two in here on some a Ruger 1022, Marlin Model 60. Also, I've had them for several years, never had a bit of problems with it. So any rimfire rifle I get, I'll go to Wally World and get a Simmons. As far as the big bore stuff, I've got a Model 70 Winchester Chamberton 270, and it's got a Leopold scope on it, 2x7x33, and it's maybe not that long, but for what I need it for, it's perfect, and can't go wrong with the Leopold. And also in the green room, I was showing everybody the scope I picked up yesterday, Monstrum. And the box doesn't say if it's the Banshee or Spectre. It's a 1-6x24. It's maybe about yay long, and it looks like something that would go on a tactical rifle, but I put it on my Ruger American bolt action rifle, Chamberton 7.62x39, and I'm not going to shoot nothing more than 250 yards away, and this just seems perfect, and it come with the mount, and slapped it right on, fit like a glove, and works fine. Works fine, can't complain.
Awesome. Good stuff, buddy. And so, Jamie, we're going to jump on to you, but I want to share something real quick. Mr. Bob had sent this in when we was talking about MOA. So, it shows us here. So, if there were some questions on it, maybe this little diagram here will help out. So it shows the degree, 25 yards distance, your 1/4 inch, 50 yards, 1/2 inch, 100 yards, 1 inch. So for people like me, it's always nice to have something drawn in crayon or something. It always helps. So anyway, Jamie, we're up to you, buddy.
What are we talking about? What scopes do we like? I'm an arc guy.
And like as far as like mounting them and stuff, if you run across like anything or like some like advice, you're like, oh, well, here's an advice. If you're gonna mount a scope, or if you're on, looking for this or that, I ran across this before, and so beware, how you mount it or what you buy, to mount it with and stuff, and kind of more or less just, scopes in general, though.
I think the biggest advice I can give somebody about mounting their scope is do some research and figure out what's going on and what you need to do, and do it right. yourself. Don't take your rifle to a gun store and tell the guy that I want this scope mounted on this rifle here. You do it for me. Wrong. You cannot be sure it's done and done correctly unless you're taking it to a qualified gunsmith or you're doing it yourself. And if you're doing it yourself, you need to know what you're doing. And it's not that difficult. You need to clean those. You need to clean your screw holes, the taps. You need to get all the oil out of there. You need to use blue Loctite. You need an inch pound torque wrench, and you need to pay attention to the specifications for torque on the scope. Arkans come that they're 18 inch pounds on the rings, and then what you do with your rail or your bases, whatever that may be, you need to pay attention to those qualifications. Hey, Bama Dad, you need to pay attention to those specifications in the package. That usually I do mine. My bases or rails, I tighten those to 25 inch pounds with blue Loctite, and I want my scope. I want that. I want the objective as close to the barrel as I can get it. And that drawing that we looked at, there's one thing wrong with that drawing, and that's the bullet trajectory coming out of that bore is straight. That's not reality, folks.
Yeah, that's true.
Take a marble or a ball or golf ball, whatever, and roll it across your kitchen table. What happens when it goes off the side of the table? It starts dropping. The angle at which it drops is going to be determined by the speed that it's at when it comes off the edge of the table. Like you could really fling it and it'll go all the way and hit the wall, but it's still going to start dropping. So when people tell you that a bullet will actually go up before it starts dropping, I have a hard time believing that because I have actually rolled a ball off the side of the table. But anyway, that's why we've got to sight in our scopes. We got to go shoot them. And when you first take your scope out to sight that scope in, you can do it exactly, Tim S. E equals MC squared. The thing is, you can't really trust that first trip to the range. You've got to shoot that scope zero multiple times, and I've learned that the hard way. You can think it's sighted in, and it will be, and it could be. But I always want to double check. I always want to take that rifle back to the range about a week or two later, and I want to shoot it again on paper and print and make sure that scope is where it's at. One thing that'll help you is if you'll take something like a screwdriver or something, tap those turrets. Don't bang them, don't beat them up, but tap those turrets and let them settle in where they're going to get, because that's important. A lot of times they'll stick, and you'll have to go further with the adjustments than you actually need to. Then you put the scope back in your bag and put it in the back of your car and drive home, and then it jostles down and it's where it's supposed to be. So always double check your zero. And that's what I was talking about, Tim S., not me. I always want to double check that zero on my rifle scopes. And that's my sermon for the night.
Yeah, it's a good. It's happened many times before. I maybe even sighted in just a red dot or whatever for a video, and then a few days later go to shoot the video and I'm off a little bit. I'm like, what in the world? I could have swore this thing was on. Yeah, but
and it was
good information, buddy. So, Mark Thomas, let's jump on over to you, buddy.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say because I've really relied on iron sights all my life. In the last 2 or 3 years, my vision's been starting to fail, and now I've just finally started to get into using scopes. And I've had a couple of old rifles that have old scopes on them, and yeah, there's a few of them that have worked better for me that others that haven't. And newer scopes, I'm just still working out the details, so I don't have a whole lot to contribute. But what I'm finding is the clearer the better. The more the light they gather, the better for me. And I don't know what else to say. That if they hold up, if they can handle the recoil of a rifle, then good. If they can't, they throw in the trash. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's true, buddy. Good stuff. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, you don't want, I mean, when you're out there in that deer woods or whatever you're hunting, you want to make sure that scope or whatever has been on there for a while, and it's been shot different times, and it's still hitting where you want it to hit. And recoil, it's another one you just talked about, and so that's a good deal, Mark. All right, DJ, we'll jump on down to you, brother.
I will feel not so bad about this one because Gary was self-admittedly also not all that versed in scopes. I did not have anybody teach me how to do those things. I did not own a rifle when I was under 18 years old. I didn't have one until I was in my 40s. It did not have an optic. I was so used to iron sights that I didn't even consider it. The exceptions were every once in a while when I bought a Model 60, it would have one on. And I have a Tasco that's never been mounted from about, I don't even know where I pulled that one in. And I actually have one branded Glenfield as well, because the Glenfield version was one that of the two, I would rather have. And I didn't, let's see, was it 2 years ago, a year or 2 years ago? That's when I first got anything modern or cool. And this is a Monstrum Raven. And I can't tell you anything about it. It was mounted on the upper that I won at Thunder on the Prairie, and it was already dialed in, and we're staying right with that. So I take, I do take in what Jamie said about making sure that, it's somebody who knows exactly what they're doing, or it's you kind of thing. I don't know that I want to learn those lessons so much as I would like to be around it sort of thing, but I don't know. I'm a little too nervy, especially about these, I'm calling them modern optics, these new things, because I just never had any experience with them. So I also have an EOTech knockoff that I won in some contest on YouTube, and a Monstrum Blackbird. So the two Monstrums, all three of those I won. So I know about as much as the box says. When it comes to rings, I also have some of those that I won. And I don't have a scope to put, to mount them with. So, yeah, I am one of the odd men out on this one. I can't speak intelligently about any of this, except I know I pronounced those things correctly. That's what I got, Hillbilly.
Yeah. Good stuff, buddy. Yeah, I mean, that's that's one reason I want to talk about this tonight, because some people maybe if they're not shooting real long distance or something, they might not even, they may not use scopes much. I know I didn't in my younger years. I did have one deer rifle, had a scope on it, and that was it. Everything else is iron sights. Well, nowadays it's a whole different ball game, and my eyesight's not what it was, and all that. And so, I thought, well, it'd be kind of interesting to talk about this tonight. So good stuff. And see, Bubba is, he told me to go first because I don't know what he's going to say. So I might as well go ahead and say first. So I want to first of all, I want to address M. Gabriel's comment out there earlier. I said I'd come back to him when he's talking about Zulisi red dots. They sent me 2 of them, and both of them, I'll have to say, they are clear. They work. Both of them were on 9mm. I've ran several rounds through them, and I've not had any problem with them. And we know that, I know that they're like, they've not been out as long as like Monstrum and, a lot of other companies, but for, more or less kind of a budget red dot, I would suggest it. Actually, I suggested it to my son-in-law because he had just bought another pistol, and he's like, "Is there any kind of cheaper red dots that actually work or whatever?" And I suggested to him, and I was like, Zulisi's got great stuff. Monster's got great stuff. They're both budget friendly, and I've shot both of those companies, and I can't say anything bad about them yet. I mean, I've put several rounds through each one of those, and so for me they've worked just fine. I got a couple videos on them, and I know Chris, and I think he has some videos on them, and some other people. But yeah, they've actually worked. So one of the problems I got a hold of Jamie and CW about is so I was wanting to hook some of my scopes up to some older like 22s and stuff, which are dovetail, and then you have kind of a little bit different dovetails, and so the 3/8, 11mm, and everything. And so what I kind of figured out, the reason I got a hold of them is for what I'm needing it for, which is basically doing some videos on some optics. I thought, well, switch it over to a pick rail, then that would save me from having to buy different, maybe 3 different sets of rings for the three types of tube size, for the mounts. Now, if I don't know, like kind of me and Jamie had a discussion. He's like, well, do you really want to pick rail on your old, Marlin all the time or whatever? Well, I don't think I probably would. But that would allow me to try different scopes. And I'm like, oh, I really like this scope. I want to keep this scope on this gun, right? So then I go, I got the tube size, and then I go find, the dovetail mounts for that particular older rifle. And so, I just kind of want to throw that out there because, and I actually looked, there's lots of companies, like Jamie found me a couple there on Amazon and stuff that like you're talking, not very much money at all for a dovetail to pick rail, adapter. So then you can try, you can try 2 or 3 different scopes, see what works on that rifle. Then I think it would be the smartest thing, at least for me, is like, like I said, I want to keep the scope on this rifle. So now I'll just go ahead and go buy my, dovetail, depending on how big the tube, the scope is. Then you kind of have an idea, okay, how high do you need it and all that stuff. So, that's something I, wanted to kind of throw out there for people in case they're thinking, well, I'd like a, scope for this, but I'm not sure if it's the one, that I need. But my goodness, there's a lot of good scopes out there that is, I would say more budget friendly. I grew up with just, most usually just getting them at Walmart or what Bass Pro had on sale, since they're, both those companies are in our area. And I mean, I got old rifles here that still have an old Tasco on them, or, maybe a Simmons or something like that. But I think for me, the time has come to where I think I want to update some of those. Some of them still have good glass in them, but not much magnification. Some of them got decent magnification, but now they're cloudy. So anyway, that's kind of one reason I thought we'd talk about this tonight. And Bubba, I'll throw it on down to you, buddy.
All right. Anyway, I wanted to go last because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes or anything like that, and I didn't want to interfere with anything that Hillbilly had planned to say or anything like that. So I just didn't want to step on anybody's toes. That's why I'm doing it this way. Because there's a lot of small things that I think intimidate people when it comes to scopes and stuff like that. But I'm going to go ahead and say this before I start. I do like Athlon, I do like Riton, and I do like Arkin. Nothing but love for them. I don't own any of them, but every time I've ever shot a rifle with one on them, I love them. I am a Monstrum fanboy. I absolutely love Monstrum, and I will never stop saying that Monstrum is amazing. They make a quality product, and they do really good with their glass.
Throw a Monstrum on a Glock, you got Bubba hooked, man.
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That's where I draw the line. But there's a lot of small things with scopes and stuff that a lot of people I think get intimidated with, and I wanted to talk about some of the smaller ones. First of all, if you go to buy a scope for the first time, and everybody else here knows this, there is two different types of scope settings for the reticles and stuff. You have second focal plane and you have first focal plane. This can be intimidating to some people because they're just like, well, which one's better? Which one's better? Ultimately, the decision is up to you. What do you like more? What is your purpose for it? Yada, 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 stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and talk about first focal plane scopes. First off, what first focal plane means is that the reticle will grow as the magnification grows. All right. So if you have like a 1 to 10 power scope and you're on one, it's going to be at its smallest setting. It's going to be the smallest as it can be for that particular reticle. As you zoom in, the reticle gets larger in order to encompass the amount of difference in the distance and stuff like that from the scope. That's what that means. That's all that means. Second focal plane scope means that reticle does not change. It is a set reticle. It does not increase in size, does not increase in mass, width, or anything like that. It stays the exact same size that it is fixed to. If it's a 3 to 9 scope, it's going to be a 3 magnification reticle, and that's it. That's it. So don't freak out about any of that stuff. There's no point in freaking out about it.
I thought it was if you want to take one shot or two shots.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a couple. You might be able to do that with like a Thunderstruck or something like that, or whatever that double barrel 22 Magnum pistol that never works.
Well, the second focal plane is basically like every reticle that most of us have ever shot. Now they should just, I mean, you could almost call it the normal reticle, and the first focal plane is the transforming one.
More or less like Grandpappy scope is second focal plane. You're going to see that primarily on a lot of the older scopes, a lot of the Tascos, a lot of the Simmons, the Weavers, and stuff like that. That is not to say the second focal plane does not have its place. It does have its place. It's good for hunting. I actually prefer second focal plane for hunting. If I'm doing target shooting, I want first focal plane. And if it's LPVO, I always want first focal plane. Always. Because I don't want any difference at a low power and if I'm shooting, close range. One of the other things is setting up your scope. Now, one of the other things that I love about Monstrum is they do have quite a few in-depth guides for people who are beginners for putting on scopes and stuff like that. They have a little beginner's kit and stuff like that. And they literally have step-by-step guides to walk you through how to use that particular little kit. Step-by-step processes and stuff, what inch pounds of torque you need to put on them, everything. Each one of them is very detailed and every last little bit of that. It's one of the reasons why I like Monstrum. It's very friendly for someone who is just getting into mounting the scope or just getting into scopes in general. And one of the other things that they do, and I'm going to share this, Hillbilly, real quick. Let's see.
Yeah.
Is when you're setting up your scope and you're setting up the plates or you're setting up the mounting bracket, they have a little bitty diagram to show you what to do. And it's this right here. All right, so whenever you're tightening down for the rings, you can see how this thing goes a little weird. All right, so you start at this point, you want to go diagonal from that point, and then go across, and then diagonal back down again, diagonal, diagonal. So they have this little bitty bracket set up on their page. Now this is on my paint file just because I didn't want to show my account information and stuff like that from Monstrum, but they have these on there, and again they quote the inch pounds that they have for these particular brackets listed here. And there's several different types of mounting plates for rings and stuff. So they have different walkthroughs and stuff like that. So don't be intimidated by that stuff. Don't be like, and for the love of God, don't just throw one on there and tighten it up. I've made that mistake several times when I was first starting with scopes. Do not do that. There are several guides, and I'm pretty sure Arkin does it too. I'm almost 100% sure Wrighton does it. And just like Jamie said, look up the information. It'll be there. They even have pro tips for sighting in the optics, what kind of ammunition the scope likes the most out of certain guns. There's in-depth stuff that you can look up to help you in these small little minute things that, some people might get discouraged. Some people might be intimidated. Like I said, just calm down and pick up the hammer. Well, don't hit the scope with the hammer, but just, you know what I mean? Just get at it. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say. That's just some small things that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. And if you ever put together put a head on an engine, then you know how important it is to follow that torque diaphragm too, and it's nice that there is the same thing for mounting these up too, and so because it does make a difference. Yeah. But anyway, before we go any farther, we really need to shout out this side chat. And so Jamie, would you mind shouting out the side chat? And anybody got an idea, something to throw out there? Everybody type in.
Optic.
Yes.
Awesome. So type in optic, and as Jamie says, it'll call you out on the TV.
Yeehaw! It's Saturday night. We all should be watching the Grand Ole Opry. Except for that's a radio show, and they're not on YouTube. So, and wow, we're off the page already. Go ahead, Garage Guy. I'm sorry.
You mentioned Grand Ole Opry. Is that radio station, that old AM radio station, WSM? Do they still broadcast that?
Well, I can't get it here. I'm in Georgia.
Well, you know how AM radio stations are at night. After dark, you can usually I can pick them up out of New York or Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, quick poll for the panel. Who has an AM radio?
That I've used recently. I mean, my radios get AM, but I don't ever turn up to that band.
I think on my alarm clock.
I used to have a ham radio, but they started calling me on the ham radio about my car's extended warranty. So I had to get rid of it.
Okay, I
don't know how they found the ham radio handle.
Calm down for a minute. I got to do this.
If you're gonna pull the panel on a Saturday night, it would be really nice to be watching the Grand Ole Opry or Lawrence Welk, or what about Hee Haw? Ooh.
I loved Hee Haw when I was a kid. I got a story about that, but I'll talk to you later about that.
Oh, yeah.
Bama Dad says first focal plane. Abigail Finnegan says optic. Bama Dad's out there. Hasbro's out there. Artac and Daughters. Hey, buddy. We got 3 Jeep Discovery. Tommy Boy's out there. Garage Guy 879 is on the panel and in the side chat. 2 Live Moo. My brother, MCK, is out there. Defense Dad, Tim S. Polar Snow C. I hope I said that right, buddy. My brother, Lakeview Outdoors, is out there. Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy. My hero, Viejo Walter, welcome in, buddy. Ozzy Osborne, Willie Marino, R4, Mississippi Thunder, Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy, Ron 2A Matters, yes it does. Tactical Fuds out there, Mr. Bob, Two Live Moo again, Tommy Boys out there. I need to stick to the ones that are actually saying optic, right? Okay, so there's Dwayne 7834. MCK's out there. I already said that. And I think that's all. I know we've got a lot more people out there than actually typed that in. So anyway, we want to thank all of you guys for being here this evening. And it's Saturday night. Back to your host, Mr. Hillbilly. That would be your boss.
I'm going to put a poll out there real quick.
Yeah. So should I tell my yeehaw story?
Yeah, go right ahead, buddy.
My grandmother, when I was a little boy, and I'm talking about in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, just loved Charlie Pride. Y'all know Charlie Pride?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got to kiss an angel good morning. Anyway, she loved Charlie Pride, and we listened to him on the AM radio. And I told her one Monday morning I was over there, and I said, Grandmother, did you know Charlie Pride was a black man? And she said, he is not. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, he was. He is. And she said, how do you know? I said, because I saw him Saturday night on Yeehaw. And he was singing, he's a black man. And I said, not just that, he used to be a baseball player, because I was big into baseball back in the day. And she said, well, he sure don't sing like it.
Which team would he play on?
He was in the California Angels organization, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
But yes, he was a minor league baseball player and gave up baseball to sing country music. And I, for one, am so glad that he did.
We're the better off for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the world's full of baseball players, right?
Yeah.
I strike out every week.
We're talking baseball, Bubba.
I don't do.
Well,
I'm talking about running bases.
Chuck Connors played the rifleman. He played professional baseball and basketball.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but I really liked I watched every episode of that series.
Yeah. But also he smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day too.
Good God.
A lot of the people that acted on a show with him in interviews, I remember on Johnny Carson, a few of them, the guy that played Sheriff Torrance or whatever, talked about, he said, yeah, every time he turned around, when he was off screen, he was lighting one up, put it out, and just one after the other.
Wow.
I mean, to smoke 5 packs of cigarettes, that's 100 cigarettes a day. There's 20 in a pack, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, you got to chain smoke continuously. The only time you're not smoking is you're eating or drinking something.
Or sleeping.
Oh, man. Yeah. So we're getting so close to coming at the bottom of the hour, and we still have some more stuff to talk about. And I don't know if we can get to the next topic by then or not. So let's go ahead and do the giveaway. Then we're going to go on to some more fun topics. actually, we're going to be talking about kind of where we left off last week. Does anybody remember what year we was up to?
Didn't we get to the 80s?
We go save the 80s for this week. So we're going to do the giveaway, and then we're going to be talking about 80s music. So if you kind of new to this channel, make sure you get your hashtag in HBN79. And what the giveaway is tonight is the skinny blue knife right there. It does have a pocket clip on it. Here's the other side. Some people refer to it as R2D2, maybe a Star Wars type knife. And some people refer it to maybe something like out of Tron, So it's got some, different designs in there, kind of like Tron. I always thought this part here, it's always told those are glass breakers. And it does have a spot for a lanyard here, but Moo informed us that it's great to break ice for your mixed drinks. So multi-purpose, in there. And so anyway, that's what we'll be giving away tonight. And let's go ahead and bring up the screen. We'll give everybody just a quick minute here to get their hashtags in if they've not got them in already. And all right. I'm going to do my paper. I'm sorry. Okay, I got something here. I actually booked that write all this down in is in the other room. So, anyway, make sure you get your hashtags in there. We see Moo coming in here with a late hashtag. So, I'll write down here, just so I don't forget who the winner is going to be. So, anyway, see, Bubba, when do you think we ought to spend this thing?
All right. Let's see here. 5, 4, 35, 2, 1. Hold on. And go for it.
Right.
Rigged.
If I won, I was going to tell you to send it to him.
Well, that's why you didn't win, because you're like, well, I'm just going to give the mark anyhow. So
that's my brother from another mother right there.
Here he is. He's out here. So I'm working on this jar.
He's
all right,
feeling no pain this evening, is he?
Awesome.
That's so cool.
All righty.
So, hashtag rigged.
So
hey, we're gonna have to start another giveaway, Hillbilly, to the first guy that types in rigged. They get a consolation prize. It seems to be the great American sport lately.
All right, MCK, email me at American Hillbilly Up and give me your handle name and the name and address that you want this sent to. So anyway, buddy, congratulations on winning. And this giveaway, all of the Skinny Blue Knife giveaways are sponsored by the VIPs. So make sure you thank the VIPs, them supporting this channel, because they're sponsoring all the giveaways. So really appreciate them so much for doing that. Oh man. See, maybe one of you realtors can answer Bam and Dad real quick. Says, I have a question. What is the most overpriced reloading accessory you've come across?
Accessory?
That's what he says here. Probably the firearm to shoot it in.
Walter says that would be Lee's beam balance, the safety scale. I got a box of. I'm gonna blow them suckers up too, and I ain't yet. The most overpriced. Man, that's gonna take some thought. I'll get back to you on that. Anything Dylan is overpriced, but I don't know. I don't own one, but
Oh man. So, what do you guys think? We go ahead and get on to the next topic, and that is, let's see. I believe we finished the 70s.
Yeah, we're on the 80s. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
did I miss the 70s? That was my decade, man.
Yeah, I missed it last week too.
well,
I was young last week. I just went to bed at like midnight, and they're going to 2 o'clock in the freaking morning, man.
so for you two or anybody else that missed the 70s, we'll just start out. I just actually deleted the banner, but what was your top 3 songs from the 70s? And then we'll move on to the 80s since you guys missed it last week.
I know what Garage Guy's going to say, so I'm not going to say that, but I'll agree with him in advance. And I will say 1971, live from the Fillmore East, the Allman Brothers Band. Anything on the album is outstanding. Anything Led Zeppelin from the early 70s. And anything Tammy Wynette from the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
So
You'd be proud of me, Jamie. All mine were listed, and it was pretty much Willie Nelson and Conway Twitty and stuff.
yeah, there's one song in particular, if I may be so bold. Tammy Wynette, You and Me. If you haven't heard it, go look it up. You'll love it. It's not for little kids, but I trust all you guys are adults, and all you guys in the side chat definitely. Charlie Daniels was awesome in the 70s. I hate we lost him. I think it's that's the loss of a national treasure. Such a great Christian witness as well as to what as from where he was to what he turned into is just a great testimony for the power of God.
Cool. All right. So, Garage Guy, how about you?
Well, honestly, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in everybody's expectations. I'm not going to mention a band that I've mentioned several times over the past weeks.
You're going to say ABBA?
No, but I tell you what, back in the late 70s, you had Dancing Queen on the 8-track. That was a babe magnet.
Oh, yeah.
I can move down.
But
oh, yeah.
I'll listen to any music that she is into.
anyhow, my country music back in the 70s was just totally different than this commercialized, packed in a plain brown wrapper kind of thing it is today. It was great back in, you know. I didn't come to appreciate it until later on in life. Loretta Lynn. One song I liked was Convoy, C.W. McCall. Glenn Campbell was really good. Johnny Paycheck had some good stuff. Leroy Van Dyke. But my three favorite songs of the 70s, and I'll tell you in order. Number 3, 90% of the people that play guitar today learned to play this song, the very first song they tried, Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple. Number 2, Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. And my very favorite song of the 70s, and I mentioned this in the green room, and I'm still miffed nobody mentioned it last week. I still can't believe it. Hotel California by the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
May I say that the Eagles are one of the top 5 bands in history, period,
Right.
of anybody. I mean, I put them right up there with the Glenn Miller Orchestra, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, history, period.
A lot of the Eagles stuff could have been considered country as well, like Lion Eyes. They had several songs that was borderline rock country.
That was part of their appeal.
Yeah.
Linda Ronstadt was big and very influenced by the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Good
We're getting
stuff.
nothing at a DJ. I'm thinking we're on the wrong track here. We're not hearing attaboys from the DJ himself.
Hey, you guys weren't able to participate, so I was going to give you all the room you needed. And claiming the Eagles as being that vaunted, that's a contentious topic for sure. And because this is a polite show, I can't say what I think about Don Henley. And that's a different story for the back chat kind of deal. But I don't disagree that they should be considered one of the best rock bands of all time. But man, Jamie, it's hard to lay them against everybody else for 100 years worth of music. And that discussion itself would take us down a lot of rabbit holes. And pretty soon, we'd be at the top 500, performers of the last century. So, I mean, I'm always down for that conversation, but maybe incrementally sort of deal. And yeah, that's what I got for right now, at least.
I know, but name 4 bands better than them.
4 bands?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes, so I'm not going to say a dang thing.
AC/DC, I think, because they continue to perform through all of the decades since they formed in the 70s. Continue to tour kind of thing, and their contribution to hard rock, I don't like to say they're metal, they're just hard or heavy rock kind of thing. I think that is of inestimable value. Absolutely. Another, I'm not going to say ABBA. I'd have to be putting some thought time behind the third one, but the second one is Duke Ellington. Can't be beat. Like one of the best composers on the 88 keys. And what a great bunch of stuff that he contributed. And I'm into musical theater so much that I'm starting to think about that stuff. It's like, hold on a second, because of all the librettos that were created back then, and for shows that I was actually in, some of them at least. But Hillbilly, you got to rein me in. You saw me just burn the last 2 minutes, and all Jamie said was he hadn't heard from me.
Did anybody else miss the 70s last week that's on here?
You know dang well I didn't.
I know you didn't. Alrighty. So we'll go ahead and we'll move up to the 80s. Top 3 songs from the 80s, and we'll start with Gizzard since Bubba always likes to go last.
Oh, God, you had to start with me. Was there any good music in the 80s?
How dare you?
Oh,
That can't be deep.
I had to say that to see if DJ was awake down.
I've been murdered.
skipping past some of the hair band stuff, because that I'll leave DJ to the hair band stuff because he's got more hair than I do and stuff like that. Let's see what comes. You can't really speak the '80s without talking about Michael Jackson. I mean,
Right on.
take your pick on the songs there. I mean, Billie Jean, stuff like that. Not that I liked them so much, but boy, that stuff was popular. Let me tell
Awesome
you.
bass lines in them songs. My goodness.
Oh
Great
yeah.
pick.
If you wanted to dance to that stuff, or yeah, if you wanted to get your girly play that stuff on your stereo, you'd probably, get some of that stuff going on. Not that I'd know anything like that or anything like that, but there was some weird stuff that come on in the '80s too. Let me throw some stuff out there that nobody else is gonna say.
Are you sure?
How about a band called Devo, and let's go with
Oh,
Whip
yeah.
It. Who
Da-na-na-na.
doesn't know that song, and who won't dance around when that comes on?
Whoop
You can't help it. Everybody claims I hate it, but everybody will bebop to it when it comes on.
Oh man, it just gets you moving. You can't help it.
That's why we hate it.
That's the subliminal type of music that just reaches out and gets you. Let's see. How about? Oh, I know something else that nobody else is going to bring up. Let's bring up some achy breaky heart here.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Everybody can claim they hate it, and everybody can, this and that. But I'll bet you can sing it.
Yep. And more than likely, if you're on the dance floor, you probably cut a rug to it a time or two too, around those times because it was on everywhere.
Oh yeah. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. I'll let somebody else go. I threw out some oddballs out there because
Good one.
there was just so much that came out in the '80s. Music was going wild in the '80s. MTV was coming on. Music videos were getting big and all this stuff, and music was just taking a turn. Things were changing out there. The '70s was kind of going away, and kids were going their own way with music. So let somebody else play for a while here.
Oh man. So Moondog, what's your top three picks?
Oh, I think last week I said that I was prematurely 50 or prematurely 80 because I was listening to a lot of jazz and opera now, but '80s was really my era. I was in junior high, and most of my albums, the first albums I purchased were in that time frame. So yeah, it's gonna be a long list, but I'll just rattle off three that came up to the top of mine. And I think the first one probably might resonate with more you the folks than the next two. But let's start with Panama by Van Halen. And 1984 album is an amazing album. So
not only amazing album, but how about that album cover?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's everybody about my age knew or drew the Van Halen logo on their book covers. So
yeah.
So I've got a soft spot for Van Halen overall, but the next two songs I'm gonna pick are, as I mentioned earlier, it's big. My musical tastes were very eclectic in that period, usually because of some girl I had a crush on and what I knew they listened to or what I thought they listened to. So I would get into their music. So my next the top three, my next song would be "With or Without You" by U2. And I really got into a lot of U2's work in that period, and I still think it's their best stuff. But that's neither here nor there. And the last one would be "It Takes Two" by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. I can still rap that. So
We might call upon you to do that at some point, man.
Uh-oh. Got me singing songs from the 30s, and now I'm going to have you start rapping. Dog, here we go.
I still can't do Sugar Hill Gang. If anybody could do Sugar Hill Gang, like
Dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I said a hip hop, a hip hip hop. You don't stop. A rocket to the bang bang. Boogie said up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Oh wait, I'm not gonna go the whole thing. But yeah.
Good job,
That
man.
made me think of the wedding singer almost immediately.
Oh,
Knuckles on that, man. That was great.
man. Man, that's awesome. Oh man, okay. Oh.
Who wants to go next? I can keep on riffing, but who wants to go next?
It's like, please, somebody go next.
Oh man. So Garage Guy, what are you gonna rap?
Well, I'm sure not going to pick any song that went oops, 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 oops. Sound like something Stewie Griffin would dance to, you know. So anyway, if I'm not mistaken, I think I might have answered this question a few weeks ago, and I'll tell you the same 3 songs. Number 3 is a song I really enjoyed. I think it was really lively. Rock the Casbah by The Clash.
Good one.
Number 2 was a song I really liked. It's just hard driving all the way through. It was by The Cult. It was called Fire Woman. Live version is excellent. And my favorite song of the 1980s come from Ozzy Osbourne from the Ultimate Sin album. It was called Shot in the Dark. And that live version, that lead guitar, man, it just crank up at the stereo. It'll blow you away, man.
Oh man. Good stuff. My goodness. And the side chat's got it going on out there too. My goodness. They got a lot of great stuff out there. Man. Along with everybody in the panel. So Jamie, I guess we're over to you now, bud.
Not really, brother.
Not really.
I got nothing from the 80s. I'm
No
sorry.
country. I mean, there was a lot of good country in the 80s.
What you got in the 80s, I liked the Kenny and Dolly duets. And Randy Travis was coming on big.
Randy.
Forever and Ever, Amen. My favorite, I think, would be the Hometown Boys, Alan Jackson and the boy from, dang it. I have these brain farts.
We all do.
I know their name better than my own, and I can't call them up.
Duets with Alan Jackson. Oh man.
Alan Jackson is awesome, man.
Yeah. Anybody think who did duets with him?
Remember Kenny and Dolly did that Islands in the Stream thing?
Yeah. From Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah.
That movie was very misleading.
Yeah.
Bubba was disappointed when he paid his $10 for his movie ticket.
That's right. It was like, all right, is Mom home? We're going to watch this.
There's a guy from Georgia, and I can't think of his name. Here's a quarter, call Someone Who Cares.
Travis
I remember
Travis Tritt.
Yeah, he's one to end all the songs with yeah or whatever.
How'd it go again?
Yeah. I mean, every one of those songs. I love listening to Travis Tritt.
Yeah. Alabama came out early, and Tim S. Leonard Skinner was really from the 70s. Their plane crashed in 1977. I'll never forget that day.
Yeah.
I was at school, and man, it was like it was like Kennedy got shot again, only worse.
Yeah.
Because I actually cared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like at Alabama in the 80s too, man. You're right.
Yeah, but that's where I'm as far as pop when the '80s pop rock all that stuff. I was dead to that. In the '80s, I was working. I had a family. I was nose to the grindstone and getting trying to make money and support my family and my kids. And I didn't have. Of course, I mean, you got music going on around you. There's always going to be music, but I was more into country. MCK, that is an absolutely fabulous song. That's a remake of a Waylon Jennings song, "Where Corn Don't Grow."
Yeah.
And that's a heart touching song. If anybody wants to go look that one up.
All righty. So, Mark Thomas, what do you got for us, buddy?
Oh, I was definitely a child of the 80s. Van Halen, that was definitely going on. Oh my goodness, I can't even think of what else. I'm actually at a loss. We're trying to party and have a good time and get through it.
I visualize those cassette tapes in your car. What album was that?
I crashed my 1977-78 Datsun B210 to Joe Satriani, Surfing with the Alien. Oh my God. Going way back. DJ is just like freaking out now. I was definitely a child of the 80s. We had great music, Van Halen. Oh my goodness, so much. It's an overload. Can hardly think to what else to say.
Man, the side chat's throwing out so many awesome ones too. My goodness. All righty. Good stuff, Mark. Sorry you crashed your Datsun.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm going to have to crash out too. It's getting late. It's almost 12. We're going to get up early for Airsoft tomorrow. So good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to plug Mark, for you get out of here?
Nah, nothing to plug. Just doing good. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Peace,
Thanks
brother.
a lot, baby.
Peace.
Appreciate you, brother. All right. So, DJ, we're up to you, buddy.
The 80s was also my decade. I didn't crash any cars in the 80s, but I probably would have done it to Metallica's, let's see, Battery was my favorite song on Master of Puppets, and I made my 74. I had a Mercury Comet. It was not fast. It had like a 250 in it, but man, I would find some hills here in Omaha because we're on the Missouri River Valley, and I would just launch off this one going into downtown. Just can't stop the battle. It's just like taking off. My my like beginnings in metal, I mean, garage guy, it's like it's Kiss. That's where that started for me. And the synths are what the most major difference, in my opinion, there is about that transition from the 70s to the 80s. Synthesizers start to come in, it creates a whole new kind of thing. Do they exist previously? Yes, they did, but their most major contribution begins 70s and working through. And so all the Euro synth bands, I loved. I was in early junior high. I mean, Depeche Mode, Echo and the Bunnymen, drop down to Australia, you got In Excess, Hoodoo Gurus, like almost every country, I've got a couple of bands maybe. And that's an exaggeration. I don't have all of that, but nobody yet has said or is likely to say, I don't know, Sweet Child of Mine. It wasn't a favorite, but I got to include it. It was just so huge. And my freshman year in the dorms, it was coming from every room up and down the hall. I was in a male dorm. So every dude
was listening to it yesterday, man.
Oh, really? See,
Yeah.
It does. It'll stand the test of time for a lot of us, and that was an incredible album. I mean, just came on the scene and changed a lot of things. So Metallica Battery, I would have far too many. I'll hit this one because I really do like it. And everyone, you ready to groan again? 1980 was another one bites the dust.
Oh yeah.
I still hear that on the radio, and that is a fave. I wouldn't maybe say, top 3. Police, Don't Stand So Close to Me. That's an absolute favorite. Duran Duran, Hungry Like the Wolf. I mean, I know that I'm going to catch some heat for these bands that I'm naming because they're almost the equivalent of disco kind of feeling. Yeah, I try not to be like too jammy about how great the 80s were, but it is my favorite decade to talk about after the 1960s. Some of my favorite sounds, though, came out of the 1970s. So you've got bands.
I think you're missing the O in that, Tim S. Sorry.
No, like I can see on the screen, that was Garage Guy. That was Linda Ronstadt, right? It's So Easy. Was that her? I don't recall. Anyway, yeah. So the Smiths is probably my favorite band from the 80s. Every album I'll listen to. Mm-hmm. Every album I will listen to, I love, and I have damn near memorized. Red Hot Chili Peppers, 1980s. And I'll pass it to whoever goes next by saying probably the one that really, and Moondog, I'm going to take a page from you. Yeah, I listened to bands that I might not have were it not for some girls, but one girl had me convinced that the best song of the 1980s was Purple Rain by Prince.
That's
right up there. And I knew who he was before, heard Little Red Corvette and whatnot, but for a lot of us, that's 1984, I think is when that dropped.
I was a big Prince fan.
That was a solid album.
No, that version of It's So Easy, that comes from the first Guns N' Roses album. And there's a version of it live, Velvet Revolver. The video's here on YouTube. The only difference between Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver, I guess, was the lead singer, and Scott Weiland, Stone Temple Pilots, wasn't that his name?
Mm-hmm.
He killed it, man. Absolutely killed it.
The grunge stuff that happened in the 80s and crossed over into the 90s. There's a lot that's, like right at the edge, because I started Nirvana for the first time in the fall of 89. Chad was still their drummer. I saw him again the next year in 90 in Lincoln at Duffy's. Still had Chad Channing as the drummer. The next time I saw him, it was after Nevermind came out. That blew up the 90s. But that's the 90s, not the 80s. It's coming out of the tail end of the 80s, though. So Hillbilly, rein me in. Pull him back, or I'll keep going.
Oh, man. Yeah, so I guess I'll go next since Bubba, he's probably got hopefully like some ones that ain't been commented out there before, already or something. But I mean, if I'm sitting here watching the side chat and listening to the panel, I got some in my head. I'm like, oh, bam, somebody's got that one. Somebody's got that one. But like, even when you talked about Sweet Child of Mine, the guitar playing in that, was just, it just rocked. And I'm going to, I know Bubba's favorite, so I'm going to go ahead and say this. So, I'll take it away from him, but, Never Gonna Give Up on You.
You know about Rick Astley?
Yeah.
Never Gonna Give You Up? Okay. That actually isn't one I was going to say.
I was going to try to rickroll you, but I can't play it because I get a strike or something for it. But
I can say that I actually saw him in concert in that era.
Yeah. But anyway, man, there's been so much said, and man, I want to throw out, the big hair bands. Oh man, a lot of people may have liked them, a lot of people may not have, but they were 80s, man, just bam. Just like the 80s, a lot of it was the big hair bands. And I mean, so much of it still cranks out today. Bon Jovi. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Some great music, I think personally, because I mean, it's something I had, grew up with. See, here's one I was going to mention that I think I hadn't seen out there. Oh, I think somebody threw out there Can't Drive 55, Sammy Hagar. So to me, Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker, man, he's a point in my life because, like, an hour and 20 minutes away or whatever, it's closer now, but back then, the roads weren't as good as what they were. But my mom took me and like 5 of my friends, dropped us off at Hammond Student Center in Springfield for Sammy Hagar concert. And I seen, Tim Essen through Dockin out there. Well, first you say he left out the O, but anyway, so Dockin was opening for him. And also, oh my goodness, I can't believe I can't remember right now. But anyway, a couple great opening bands. But that was the first like big major rock concert I was at, to where like you smelt, we was up like in nosebleed section, and everybody's passing around joints or whatever. We're like, oh my gosh, we were young and gullible. We're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe people smoking pot, and in public like this. And so like it was just something like watching him play. And that's when I Can't Drive 55 was his big hit out, because the back screen of the stage was a highway that curved around and it come out into the audience. And so he'd like run, during that song especially, he'd run around that and go out towards the audience and play, and then all the way back around the stage out the other side. They dropped this big like telescoping deal from the ceiling. He climbed up to the top of the ceiling and did a guitar solo, and at that time he's like eye level with us, we're like, yeah, Sammy, and but that was just something, there's things like that. I think that people might have, be seeing someone live, a band or somebody that like really has an impression, on you. Three Lock Box, man, the crowd went crazy on Three Lock Box, and there's just so many of them. But yeah, I loved country too. I mean, got on into Garth Brooks later on there in the 80s, a big Garth Brooks fan at the time too. And a lot of country, Alabama, all that stuff. But, just that was one impression on me with Sammy Hagar and a lot of the big hair bands. So anyway, Bubba, we're up to you, buddy.
So I'm going to start this off with
Dockin and Crocus.
Hold on. I'm going to start this off with Aha! Take on Me. That was the band's name, Aha.
Yep.
Second one is Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. I can't believe nobody mentioned the Breakfast Club. And this last one, which is going to lead me to another two, because this one hurt my soul that nobody said it, and I didn't see it in the side chat, and that hurts me on a spiritual level. Just a small town boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. Come on. Nobody said Don't Stop Believing by Journey. That kills me.
Great song.
How? I thought that was taken from me like the second DJ started talking. That one, I thought Take on Me was going to be taken from me immediately. And then, no, nobody said it. Oh, that killed me so hard. All right, so since that happened, let's also talk about the fact that we discussed that AC/DC brought in the 80s The song that brought in the 80s was AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long.
Definitely, yes.
And let's not forget, Wham! Wake me up before you go. Anyway,
George
yeah,
Michael, wham.
Welcome to the Jungle. Welcome to the Jungle was not mentioned. Here I Go Again, White Snake was not mentioned. It's just killing me. It's killing me. Super Freak Rick James wasn't mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. I have another list because I wrote all these out. Fight for Your Right to Party, Beastie Boys wasn't mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
What's wrong?
We love the Beastie Boys.
And Travel Back to Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is, wasn't mentioned. That one.
Nobody mentioned Air Supply either.
You Spin Me Right Round Like a Record Baby, Dead or Alive.
Yeah, Dead or Alive, yeah.
No, Rat was Round and Round, but that is another one from the 80s. This is like, and I will make another statement. This is a declarative statement, and nobody can contest me on this. Prince was better than Michael Jackson. I'm sorry.
I agree.
He did more for his community than Michael Jackson ever did. Michael Jackson was a sellout. So, but I just like Blondie, Call Me.
Yeah.
Really? Pat Benatar, Love is a Battlefield.
Oh, yeah.
Like Berlin, Take My Breath Away. Nobody, like all y'all talking about, just listen to the songs that girls might like, and you don't mention Take My Breath Away by Berlin.
Yeah.
Bubba, how old were you in 1985?
I was not born. I was in my father's repository.
And before you said Aha and Wham, we were still friends. But I don't know, man. You get for ABBA.
Hold on. Love Shack, B-52s. Nobody's
Yes.
Wasn't that 90s?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Very end of the 80s.
It's 80s. Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a reason Bubba wants to go last. It gives him time to Google everything.
Yeah, because I had to Google a song from the Breakfast Club.
And hey, Bubba,
I would have had to because I got nothing, buddy.
Bubba, that's one that I was surprised to hear from somebody else, and I thought about it because of the emotional attachment that I have to that song is huge. But it's not one of my favorite songs from the '80s. But it's a great song, an incredible movie for teens in the '80s. There's nothing but Breakfast Club and the Brat Pack. Whoa!
But I like it, like literally, like I could not believe that nobody said "Don't Stop Believing." I could not. I could not fathom. I can't believe nobody said that. That one just.
Well, you know, the thing about some of those 80s songs, they were played on the radio so much. To me, a lot of them were just running aground, and people got sick and tired of hearing them. You know, it didn't matter. When you first hear them a couple of times, I'm like, okay, that's all right, you know. But my gosh, you change one station to another, and it's the same stuff all the time. People just got worn out of it.
Now the song I would say that would personify that would be "Addicted to Love" by Robert Palmer.
Yeah,
that one would probably been one that was played way more times than it should have been.
And Garage Guy, that like what we're seeing there, that boom in the '80s at the beginning for that sort of pop music playing, and number of times they'll put it in heavy rotation sort of deal, was MTV. So it wasn't just radio anymore, determining what it was that was going to be played, or the charts, taking care of this sales, that kind of thing. MTV's influence was like, oh my, that's a watershed event.
Yeah, it's any channel, like TBS back in the day, in the 80s, they all went to, instead of showing movies during the night, on weekend nights, them and a few other networks would show music videos, and they would have the same block of videos over and over and over again. And it just really run a lot of those songs into the ground, ruined it for a lot of people.
I'm going to throw another one out real quick, and I had it in my head earlier, and somebody may have mentioned it on the side chat. I don't think I've seen it, but it's still one of my very all-time favorites: John Cougar Mellencamp, Pink Houses.
I'll go there.
Oh yeah.
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 That actually wasn't on my list.
I seen Dale Pogue throughout Rush, Tom Sawyer, another one of my favorites.
Oh, forgot about Moving Pictures.
Oh,
I forgot.
and-
Man, I forgot about Rush.
Also, oh man, I'm trying. Life is just a fantasy.
Pat
Man.
Benatar.
Aldo Nova.
Yeah, Aldo Nova, another. Yeah, I mean, oh gosh, there's so many. Oh man. Yeah. So I'm gonna give anybody a chance. Like, I don't know, does anybody on the panel need to head out? Because I think we can probably continue to talk about this for a few more minutes. So, Moondog, you gotta go, buddy. So good to have you here.
Thank you. You know, one before I head out and plug anything. Just want to ask, and I don't know if DJ's still out there, but I'm wondering if the ability of all of us to name off quite a number of songs and not repeat songs has how much do you think it has to do with the fact that many of us were of that age, or was the 80s really that rich in music? And I would kind of lean towards the latter. I think that period was like, I mean, really original, very eclectic, very unique, and allowing a lot of different artists of different styles to explore. I mean, Eddie Van Halen introduced synths into rock, I mean, in a big way that that legitimized it. Things like that, just that kind of crossover that didn't happen. I mean, the last big hurrah as far as original music to me was grunge, but even that got formulaic, and certainly it's not as bad as formula is nowadays, with everything's computerized and quantized and digitized to an nth degree. It's practically AI. But anyway, I'll leave that out. Maybe that's a good topic to carry on after I jump off. So that I'll throw that out there.
Awesome. So what you got coming up, Moondog?
Well, I've got something in the works for you, actually, Hillbilly.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I gave away, as some of you may know, we had a drawing for the Bear Power scope from CV Life on my live stream, my Airsoft live stream a week ago. But the person who won never got back to me. So I'll give a little teaser here, and maybe I hope it doesn't blow up in my face that they say no, but I'm going to propose to CV Life that since I have that scope for them to give away, that we do it on Guns, Beer, and Therapy next week.
Oh man!
So if they're amenable to it, that's what I'm going to propose to them. I shot them an email just as we started here, so hopefully you guys will be tuning in and watching that to win the scope that I gave away. So
awesome.
I just posted live an interview I did back in January at SHOT Show with Jade Strutt, amazing competitive shooter.
Yes.
And super fit, just gorgeous woman. But she was
real easy on the eyes, no doubt about that.
And she has a great personality, and she was one of the trainers for Keanu and for Haley Berry on John Wick 3. So she can shoot. So definitely check that out. That interview, long video, got into a lot of things, including her faith, which you don't often get a chance to talk to people about that on interviews at SHOT Show. So that was really a rich kind of flowing conversation that was going on. So I hope you guys check that out.
Interview, buddy. That was really good. That was it was a really great interview.
Thank you.
You guys have not seen that. I think there's somebody out there's got a 10mm ranch. Can anybody put up that interview with Jade that Hillbilly did, or shoot that that Moondog did? Can you guys put that up here for everybody? Because it is really good stuff. It honestly is.
And you can always find my stuff at moondogindustries.com, and I just posted it up there for you guys. There'll be a bunch of new reviews coming out, some Monstrum, and even a SIG LPVO. So if you guys were asking about scopes, you'll get the range from budget to bougie, because this SIG LPVO I just tested is like it retails for like $1,700, but that's what that's the one that the Army picked for their LPVO. So that's our tax dollars right there going. But yeah, Memorial Day, I'm if it keeps one of our boys coming back, that kind of, I'm willing to spend that kind of money. I'm willing to put our tax dollars into that. So anyway, well, thanks, gentlemen. All y'all have a good, peaceful Memorial Day, and just keeping your hearts in your prayers. Everybody who gave their lives for our country, and for those of who are out there still, and hope and pray that they come home safe to their families, and because we're looking out for them. All right, gentlemen, you have a good night.
Later on, man.
We'll see you, Moondog. We'll see you, buddy. So, guys, go and check out Moondog Go. That's the channel that he's kind of pushing and growing right now. But also his gun stuff is also on Moondog Industries. And so make sure you go and check it out. Subscribe if you're not already. And always has a great giveaway every month. And he mostly comes on here and tells us about it. And Hillbilly Nation's got a pretty good record of winning a lot of his nice giveaways too. So anyway, check that out. And so Jamie, you need to get out of here, buddy?
Probably, but I'm going to hang around for a couple more minutes.
Okay, you betcha. All right. Everybody else good?
I want to say one thing, though. One thing I'm seeing is all you guys are really emotionally, and we all, me included, we're emotionally attached to the period that we grew up in. So I'm like a 60s, 70s guy. I think that's the greatest music of all time. And you guys in the 70s, Moondog, DJ, the 80s, I mean, look, in reality, man, there was a lot of stuff going on in each decade, but I think we see the most radical changes in music in the 60s and in the 80s. And I remember nothing of the 90s. I just, and when you divide the stuff up into decades like that, it's hard for me to differentiate what song came out when, where, what, how, and you got to start looking that stuff up, man. And it's a blast. It's really fun.
Oh man.
Yeah, I agree, Jamie. Those 2 decades, I absolutely, here's 2 for those 2 decades. I'm in agreement there. My shift in having difficulty on being able to remember comes in the late aughts and into the early teens. I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't paying attention to popular music, and I got buried underneath all those songs above me, and I've never caught up, really. I have not caught up. And there are some songs that I love. I could tell you the artist, the album, how long the damn thing is, and I don't know the year it was released.
Yeah.
I have a proposal for that, for the answer to that. I think when we're going through life and we have those times of we claim a particular period of music or a style of music and a time frame of the music that we like. It's like when we get really busy and really dug into life, making a living, supporting the kids, the wife, this, that, and the other. When we're really digging, we revert back to what's familiar. We don't go exploring the new stuff. And like from, say, 1990 forward, I got the clue. Because at that point in time, I was still listening to what I was listening to in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s. Is that what happens to us? Maybe.
Well, like I believe, like you said, you're working, life's happening, and you're you're listening to maybe the radio show, on your way to work, on the way back, and you're gonna like tune and find, or at least for me, you're gonna tune and find a radio station that plays the music you like,
Familiar. Yeah.
And so you got whatever time you're down to work or back, and you're jamming to those songs in that era that that radio stations more or less is playing. And so and then for me, having kids, that's on up, in the years, newer music was brought to my attention, just from when my kids started getting into music, having to go to take them to a Jonas Brothers concert, like I wore a hat and sunglasses and, best disguise I could find, but, it's just, I think that's what it is, Jamie, is like you gravitate towards like what you want to listen to for that 10, 15, 20, 30-minute drive to work and back,
Here's another integer into that equation. Talk radio. At what point in time are you an adult and you're politically minded and you start listening to Rush Limbaugh, to stuff like that?
Yeah. He's a Missouri feller.
Yeah.
Cape Girardeau, Missouri, south of St. Louis.
Barely.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's another thing, at some point in your life, sometimes you might get into talk radio too. So
and Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. And we have a station out of Oklahoma we can get here. And it's 15 minutes of a lot of different popular preachers, around, and stuff. So, I switch over and listen to that sometimes. And so, but yeah. So, back on the 80s, I want to throw one out to you, DJ. I think you'll probably know. Sweet Ballroom Bliss.
Yeah, I like that one. I always like that one.
Man in the back.
I had that 8-track, man.
Yeah. And I seen out there on the side chat too, another good one that hadn't been talked about a whole lot. And I love his greatest hits album, and that was American Girl, Tom Petty.
Tom Petty.
Yeah. He has more, like, if you listen to his greatest hits, you're like, I really didn't realize that guy had so many good songs, one of those type artists, It's like, man.
I like Tom Petty from the get-go.
Yeah.
Me too.
I like the Traveling Wilburys. He was part of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Bob Dylan, Jeff Lynne, George Harrison.
And Roy Orbison.
Correct. Thank you for the backup on that. I would have been like in the back chat being just like, how did I forget him? Only the lonely. Only the lonely.
I don't know if anybody threw out Phil Collins tonight. Or the band that he played in.
Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a chunk. They had like 3 albums in a row that had 2 or 3 solid singles, like top 40 singles. And that's like almost unheard of. And he was doing stuff for, like, say, movies. He was also doing like theme songs for that. I could think, take a look at me now. I can't remember what movie it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, but yeah, he was doing stuff in addition to, and then he splits off and he's like, No Jacket Required. He's doing all that stuff then. And so, yeah, great artist. Great artist.
I mean,
for sure.
in the air tonight, You know, it was a great song. Growing up in that time with Miami Vice, I mean, that, Phil Collins in there tonight was just like epic. And something else, I don't know if anybody threw out there, and I believe, well, actually, this may have been late 70s. Billy Squire.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Don't Say No album is just incredible. And sorry to stop if anybody, I'll pass it to you after I make this remark. And that is that his career died prematurely, and it was all because of a video. If he hadn't done that video from Emotions in Motion, the single that came from that, they aired it for a little while, and it was so unlike him. He didn't want to do, the legend goes, right? He didn't want to do some of the things they wanted him to do. 80s, you remember the neon and the torn, like torn this or whatever kind of thing, like slouch shoulders. They put him in an outfit like that and made him dance around, and he looked like a fool. And so, like the hardcore dudes were like, just no. It's like my reaction to Bubba with Aha. It's like they wouldn't take him seriously. Sales dropped off. He's damn near oblivion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Stroke? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we knew that one.
Awesome. And Rick Springfield.
Fair. Working Class Dog.
A lot of good songs.
Jesse's Girl is like, it's going to go ahead and like continue on. Hillbilly, a band, and I'll pass it back to you that I don't know if it was mentioned or not. And we're talking about like bands that bridged the 70s into the 80s, like Tom Petty. Did I just talk myself through the Cars? That's another band. Late 70s pop, right at the beginning of the 80s there. And
I've seen somebody threw out She's a Beauty earlier.
That's the key. The Tubes. She's a Beauty is the Tubes. Fee Waybil's the lead singer for that band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I seen the Cars when about 79 or 80.
Wait. You saw the Cars play in 79 or 80?
Yeah.
Hush my mouth, push you man.
Awesome.
No big deal. Ted Nugent was there too.
There you go.
So was the Atlanta Rhythm section.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I love that band.
I love Atlanta Rhythm section.
Yeah.
They were just awesome.
JB, was it a festival? Was it a festival?
Yes, outdoors.
Okay.
You was talking Tom Petty. There was this animated TV show that was on Fox Network a few years back called King of the Hill. And he voiced one of the main characters in a later season, Lucky. He was ex-con or something like that. And didn't want to work and won a lawsuit. He went in the bathroom somewhere and slipped and sued him for a bunch of money. And so he never worked.
About?
King of the Hill.
Petty. Yeah. Tom Petty voiced that character of Lucky.
Oh, okay.
And it looked like it too. They drew him like it too.
DJ, I literally saw Ted Nugent in a loincloth swinging on a rope over the audience playing a guitar.
Oh, yeah.
All that live and in living color.
Hell yeah. By the first time I saw him, he was into, like many years later kind of thing. I don't remember who the opening bands were for that show, but he was doing the flaming arrow thing from the stage.
Please.
Yeah. But I didn't see him in that era. That would have been really great. Scream Dream maybe was about 1980.
Almost every year because he loved fishing in our lake and all that stuff. And so like our local, like the amphitheater that's 3 miles maybe at the most from my house, he played there, and he was shooting the flaming arrows at the the dummy things hanging up or whatever. I mean, always just packed the place.
Hillbilly, you need to brace yourself, brother, because the Rolling Stones are on their way to that amphitheater.
Are they? Oh man, there's a concert tonight actually down there.
Hold on. Where is that? Where's that venue?
Lampe, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to familiarize myself, because if they're able to book them, the Stones are booking in there. I don't know why I don't know that venue.
Oh, you know it. You just don't know you know it. It's Bass Pro Shops outdoor arena.
Okay.
Oh well, that's Bass Pro. It's a little bit farther the other way. The one that's real close to my house is called Black Oak Mountain Amphitheater now, I believe. And but yeah, Bass Pro is just
The
20
Rolling
minutes
Stones,
of it.
they're playing at the Rolling Stones are coming to the Bass Pro Shop thing.
Yeah, Hank Jr. was there last year.
I love Hank Jr., but I hear a lot of stories about how terrible of a human being he really is.
Yeah, but Hank Jr.'s played our amphitheater here several times in the past, and but we actually had Ozzy here, believe it or not, back in the day.
Cool.
Yeah, and a lot of them. But
the Champagne Jams were fun back in the day, by my dad. They were. I saw a guy, my buddy that I rode with to that show, snuck in a half pint of Jack Daniels, and we thought we would sip on that all day long. This big old biker dude says, "Hey, man, can I have a swig of that?" And Bruce said, "Sure, man," and he killed it in one swig.
oh,
oh
man.
I'm like, "Bruce, are you going to take that?" And he was so shocked he didn't do anything.
Why you always wear cowboy boots? Is that bottle on the inside of the boot?
Yeah, you learn what you're doing. You can have 4 of them in your cowboy boots.
Yep. You kind of walk a little funny with 4 of them in there, but all you got to do is get to the front gate.
Yeah. Sure he was, Bama Dad. Go ahead, DJ. I'm sorry, brother.
I was just gonna join in on that, and the experiences that you can have at festivals. You get to crush. Sometimes it's 3, 4, 5. Start to go in 1, 2, and 3 day festivals. It's amazing how many bands I was able to pack in at just some of the Midwest festivals, especially the multiple day ones, and it's just great. I mean, I'm just a little bit giddy thinking about a couple of ones like Riot Fest in Denver was incredible. I got to see a lot of artists from the 80s and 90s that I really dug. But yeah, hit some festivals. Yeah, folks, go grab some live music. It happens almost everywhere. Jamie plays in his church band. You can go grab music there. There's Music Cafe in the cafes at night and Revolution in the air. It's time to go grab some of that. Clubs will have open mic nights on Wednesdays usually. That's kind of the industry deal for those. Thursdays, like a Thirsty Thursday kind of thing at a bar or a club kind of thing. That's usually going to have somebody booked in or maybe nearby. And if you have a long way to go, well, if it's not your thing or you don't want to save the money for that in particular because you got other things to do, just think about doing it sometime. Because absorbing some new stuff that we were talking about a little bit earlier it's difficult to do once we get to a certain age to keep up with everything that's going on. And sometimes a festival is the way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And most all of those festivals have a camping facility. There's campgrounds there. You can, if you have a motorhome or a camper, you can certainly bring that. And where all the real fun stuff happens is in the camping area.
I hear you. Those are back chat. Some of those are back chat stories supreme.
Yeah.
Running some good cookouts there too. It's almost like tailgating at a college football game.
And great coffee and conversation. That's what I'm talking about. You get up in the morning and walk around with a coffee cup. You don't need to make your own coffee, man. You can walk around through there and never have an empty cup. It's like Waffle House, dude.
Yep. Before we all start going through the side or through the panel and everything, getting out of here, we haven't heard much from Bubba or Gizzard. So you guys have any last minute songs or bands or anything to do with the 80s?
It's a big decade.
I think I've listed all the ones that nobody said. At least all the ones that I cared about, anyway.
Yeah.
mean, I listened to a lot of stuff that was mentioned tonight for sure. Trying to think. 70s would be a different deal. We could talk about 70s all night.
Amen, brother. Bring it.
Yeah, I mean, 70s, I think, pretty much took up the whole last part of the show last
The
week.
one album I'm pretty sure everybody in my school owned, which was Frampton Comes Alive.
Oh, yeah, Peter Frampton.
That's still great music today, man.
Yeah.
He's such a humble fella, too. I've seen a lot of interviews with him. He seems genuine.
No doubt. And he's played out and continued to do performances like special appearances, day releases for this or that. He's also done some things with like nationwide guitar stores. So, and say a prayer like Sam Ash is no more. If you guys have one, they're done now. Music shop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm saying. I mean, you still used to be able to. Well, I mean, they're still open. They're doing door closing sales or whatever. But that's one of those. There's a national chain where you could call the OG location and talk to Sam Ash. You could be like, dude, can you give me 10% off on this? I know people who did that. You know, call him up. That's pretty cool. When you lose, that shop was the equivalent of a mom and pop store across the country. And to see them fold under Guitar Center, does anybody like Guitar Center? But that's a different topic for another day.
Yeah. Man.
I'm an American music supply guy.
I hear it. AMS is great.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything?
They have a warehouse close to Hillbilly.
Yeah, they do.
He could get his stuff really quick from them.
Yeah.
There was one 80s song that I missed, and I swear I don't know how I did it because it was one of my favorites. It's White Snake's Still of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitar solo right before it, he's using a violin bow to play the guitar. Vivian Campbell, I believe was his name. And that was just a killer song as well.
Mm-hmm. He must have been
somebody else that I like, and it was really late 80s when he got started, and I wasn't like a fan of his like at that time. But that's kind of when he laid down the roots, and that's Kid Rock. I wasn't a fan of his early stuff, but later on I was. So, Tim S said, "Did we miss Alice Cooper?"
No, I don't remember anybody on the panel saying anything about Alice. So.
No.
He did an album. I think the main hit off it was called Poison. Was that late 80s or maybe 90?
It went right around their Garage Guy. You've got it dialed in. You got it dialed in somewhere in there. Yep.
That was
Hillbilly out there says ELO and Three Dog Night. Yeah.
I love both of those bands, but those were mostly 70s.
Yeah, Three Dog Night was for sure.
Especially in ELO, that's a Jeff Lynne thing, and we've missed Jeff Lynne being part of the Traveling Wilburys too, and he's one of the reasons that project I couldn't put my heart into it. ELO was a great band; they were a great band, but that band is basically Jeff Lynne. So
yeah,
and the guys he hired to play with him. Oh, I got a story right here. You put this up there. I got to say this. When I was in high school, there was Allison. Y'all all had an Allison. She picked me up on the way to school, took me to school, and she was from a very wealthy family. And I was a poor, white trash homeboy that we all know. And she would pick me up and take me to school, and then after school we'd go to her house, and I could tell you stuff that went on, but you don't want to hear it. And then she'd take me home. Well, one day she picked me up and she said, Jamie, last night I got a new CD. Because that was the thing back in the late 70s, early 80s, well, the late 70s. It was like you bought a CD because the or cassettes, right? We had to be able to play our jam in our car. We all had good radios.
Right.
It was 8 tracks were over and cassettes were the thing. And I said, "What did you get?" And she said, "Cheap Trick live at Budokan."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, Allison, why? But Allison was worth putting up with her music. She definitely was. And her mom later became the director of actually started our town's visitor center and tourist bureau.
Oh wow!
So yeah, they were well off and well to do. God,
you still got 8-tracks. I still have some too. I got the 8-track case. It's got some 8-tracks in it. That's all I got left. There's one case.
Tell me, you guys don't have an Allison.
Yeah,
had a couple.
She's still way back there in the back of your mind, and only comes to the forefront when somebody like Bama Dad puts up Super Tramp. Yeah.
Breakfast in America is an epic album. Supertramp was a great band.
Bama Dad means same gal.
That's an alternate spelling. I see that one. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jamie, I had a couple of Allisons. Yeah, for sure. Claudine Crum was my Allison.
Mine was an I. She had an I.
And my Allison was a Cindy.
Donna.
I've got a too.
I'm not going to say mine because I think she watches her husband watch my show. So
yeah, you probably shouldn't do that then.
No.
I remember when the Georgia satellites came out.
Man. Yeah. I literally sang A Little Change in My Pocket to my wife on her wedding day.
Wow.
We had a live band, and I'm like, get up there, thank everybody for coming. This is after the wedding, at the party. And anyway, I sang it to her. I love embarrassing her.
Tim S. just mentioned Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I have a CD of Hard Rock Christmas songs, and Timothy Burkett too. I have a CD of Hard Rock Christmas songs that Kenny Wayne Shepherd did an instrumental of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I have it as one of my background songs on a video I did, I think back in 2017. Me and my buddy Joe was just out doing some shooting, and instead of us talking on it, I just put some Christmas music on the back. He did Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on that.
Yeah. Well.
And it turned out really well.
Awesome. Well, guys, we probably shut this thing down. Other people's probably got to go to bed, and so let's go around the room. Bubba, we'll just start down to you, buddy. What you got coming up?
Currently, I do have a project I'm waiting on to get the rest of the parts for, but I do have a project I'm working on. Some product from Boyd's and stuff I'm going to do a video on. Hopefully I can get back to doing videos. It's just, man, I keep on feeling like I'm a broken record. But hopefully I can get to it. I don't know. I never know anymore. But, other than that, I'm going to try to do Good, the Bad, and the Bubba again. I can't ever promise anything, but I'm gonna try. So that's all I can do is promise that I'll try.
Yeah,
But other than
we
that,
missed
and that-
the good, the bad, the Bubba.
yeah, it's just a whirlwind here.
Well, thank you so much for being on here, Bubba. Appreciate you as always. Glad you're enjoying your new job and everything. I'm really happy for you, brother. And thank you for being on here, every week, and you have for a long time. So thank you, buddy. Guys, if you do not know Bubba Triclops Ballistic, go over there and check out his channel and subscribe. Great stuff. Yeah. He's going to get back at it here. He's going to get his mojo back and his scheduling, and we're going to have some more good to bad to Bubba. I'm sure of it.
Fingers crossed.
Well, thank you so much for being here, buddy. I really appreciate you. DJ, anything you got coming up or anything you want to plug for somebody or anything?
Well, I'm not sure whether or not he does a show tonight, but like Wednesdays, Saturdays, check it out in the listings. DM Foss hosts a late night thing. So if you're looking at your watch and just like, I got another couple hours in me, as I usually do, check out his channel, DM Foss channel. And let's see, She Fires on Sundays, early evening. That's worth listening to for sure. Costly Conversations channel is doing some changes around of the content and the way that they're going to present it. I really, really like what he has done in the last little bit over a year with that channel. Really great dude too. His name is Aaron. Check him out. After that, all I got is this, man. Be safe, have fun, carry your guns, and rock. I'm out.
Oh man. Thanks a lot, buddy. Guys, go over and support DJ. He don't have much content up, or do you have any at all?
Yeah.
I think you had a little bit. Yeah.
I have the first video, the day I started a YouTube account, there was a show. There's English Beat was playing locally. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'll record this. And I was just like, oh, well, I can put this on the YouTubes, because I was just a total neophyte. I had no idea. And then I've done a couple of shorts just because.
Yeah.
And I've taken a couple of things down as well. It's not a good channel. You're right. There's not a lot to go look at.
Well, go over there and support him because he does so much for all the other channels and to our 2A community. I mean, he's just always there, great, backbone of the 2A community. So go over there and subscribe to him, show him a little love. Appreciate you, DJ, as always, for being on here, brother. Thank you. And Jamie, what do you got coming up, buddy?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Work. That's all. Friday night's 8 o'clock, Georgia Shooting Connection, followed by Gizzard Gary and Foul Territory on Friday nights. Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys. I tried to behave, but I didn't take my medicine tonight, so I'm up way too late. So thanks, guys. Go to church somewhere tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on here, Jamie. Guys, go over, and guys and girls. I say guys, I always mean like everybody. I hope nobody takes that literally. But anyway, go over and check out JH586. Great channel. He always has some good stuff on there. And check out the Georgia Shooting Connection. I mean, it's a great way to start off your weekend on a Friday night. Georgia Shooting Connection. And then after that, Foul Territory with Gizzard Gary. And then after that, there's Gun Websites 2A weekly wrap up. And so, the Friday nights, I mean, all the way to Sunday night late, everything's just bam, 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 through the weekends, and a lot of great stuff. So go over and check it out. And thank you so much for being here, Jamie. Garage Guy, what you got coming up, brother?
Well, first of all, I want to say I've started a secondary channel, and this coming week, it's called Garage Guy 879.2. the way
I
this
thought maybe
platform, huh?
I thought maybe you downsize and call it Shed Guy or something. Sorry to interrupt you, brother.
That's all right. Anyway, the way YouTube's been using AI to police these videos and channels, you know, it's always good to have a backup. And some of the videos I'm going to put on it's not going to be 2A related, but I do have 2 videos coming up this week, and one of them is going on both my channels. My granddaughter, Jay Lee, is, y'all seen my videos before, the little SpongeBob tour right there. Graduated from high school this past Thursday.
Wow.
Magna cum, what is that? Magna cum laude and valedictorian.
Whoa, a brainiac.
Nice.
Yeah, and I have no idea how that happened. I'm looking at the paper right here. No, summa cum laude. They were 4 students in a class of 63 that had a 4.0 GPA with college credits. And so the high school, the people decided all 4 of them's going to be valedictorian.
Oh, wow.
And I got the parts and pictures I'm putting up of my granddaughter, and I'm going to have that on my secondary channel and my primary channel.
Nice.
And I'm also going to post part 2 to my Kel-Tec P17 A Lot of Problems video. I just want to take that gun outside and just run over it with something.
Oh my goodness.
It's not going well. I'll put it that way.
Wow.
But I'm going to keep working with it. And then I'm still got another video I need to post probably in the next week or 2. The aluminum case 38 special ammo test with 5 different revolvers. I should already had that up, but the way things have been going around here the past few weeks, it's been kind of busy. But I will have 2 new videos up this coming week.
Oh, nice. Good deal. All right. Well, thank you, buddy. And thank you so much for being here. If you go over there, everybody, and check out Garage Guy 879, a lot of great stuff over there. Subscribe, show him some love. You won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you, buddy. Gizzard Gary, what you got coming up, buddy? You just got back home from Texas.
Yeah, I just got back home from NRAM this last week and gonna be heading to Nebraska for Thunder on the Prairie next week. So
oh yeah,
got that going on. I wanted to real quick while I have it on my mind. I threw a link out there in the chat, but we're trying to help Rich White on his Unloaded Media channel. Yeah. He's trying to get to 500 subs. So he's got a chance of going as media to the GOA Leadership Summit in August if he can get to 500 subs. He's right shy of 400 right now. So we're trying to get him some more subs out there. So if you're not subbed to him, please consider doing that.
Yeah.
As for me, I will be doing my members only chat this next week. Foul territory is pretty iffy. I'll be gone on Friday because I'll be in Nebraska by Friday afternoon. So unless I do it a day early, I still haven't decided whether to do it Thursday night or just skip it. So I'll let you know later in the week. If I'm going to do it on Thursday, I'll post it. But I'm going to be packing that night. So, yeah, a lot depends on whether I got everything done, got all my guns cleaned and everything ready to go in the truck and all that stuff. So, anyway, still doing knife shorts every day, knife reviews and stuff like that on my channel. So, anyway, thanks for having me. Good show. Taking us on another trip down, musical memory lane. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Go and check out Gizzard Gary. Get over there and show him some love and subscribe. great show, great stuff. And like he's been really throwing out some awesome knives too. So like if you're into knives, man, he's been posting a lot of really good looking knives. So, and I don't know, I really like knives myself. So they're really fun to watch, and it's like, oh man, I need that one. I need that one. I need that one. And so, anyway, thank you so much for being here, Gizzard. I sure appreciate you very much. And anyway, man, I want to personally apologize. The last week to 2 weeks have been very, very busy for me. I'm behind on my comments. I love interacting with people and comments on the videos, and it's just been a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, it's all good, but just a lot of family stuff. Um, and basically, we're trying to get my youngest daughter and her husband their house remodeled because he's in the service, and they're fixing. They don't know yet. Ship out to either South Korea, Alaska, or Hawaii from Colorado. So anyway, we're trying to get that house done so it can be rented out for them while they're gone, until they get back. And so anyway, I just been super, super busy, and I honestly do apologize. I'm behind on my videos. I'm behind on a lot of stuff, and I just want you all to know that I love you. It's not on purpose. It's just, I think all of us always agree, family, first. I mean, like I get in my videos every time in this show, remember God, family, and country. And, and so, I have those steps there: God first, family, country. And then, as much as I love it, the social media is, kind of after those, and so not that I'm purposely neglecting any of that stuff. It's just, trying to check some stuff off the list that, is kind of priority. So anyway, if you've not heard me respond back to your comments or something, I really apologize. I will get to them, I believe, this week. It's going to be a lot better. I'm going to have more time. I got videos already shot. I got finished editing, get them posted. I got more videos to make. And so anyway, man, I want to thank you guys. Saturday nights, here at Guns, Bear, and Therapy is always, it's therapy for me, because getting to hang out with all my friends, on the panel and the side chat, it's just awesome. And you guys all make it that blessing, and I hope that you all receive as much as I do from it, and you just enjoy it as much. And it would not be anything without everybody, and we all come together and try to make this a fun night for everybody, that you can forget about the headlines in the news and stuff like that, and let's just have fun. So I thank and love each and every one of you very much. And so we're going to head out of here, and I want to remind you all, God, family, and country, and make somebody's day better, will you? And if the good Lord's willing, the creeks don't rise. We'll be seeing you all